So I take it you were one of the houses that received a notice, and I think you probably signed it, or and it came from Mr. Westland's office. So what's currently occurring is the sanitary district is trying to line up the necessary funds to make sure that those persons who are willing to accommodate the sanitary district and allow it to take their home, that those funds are set up. And I know that you have a kind of a time-sensitive issue. And I actually spoke with Mr. Westland earlier this week about that very issue. I can tell you that from a project perspective, there are some grant funds that the city is trying to get in their coffers, and that's supposed to happen, or supposed to get an answer from that in May. And so if you want, I can talk to you maybe after the meeting, and I'll be in touch with Mr. Westland tomorrow, and between he and Mr. Wilgus and the mayor and I will probably have a conversation based upon your timeline. And if that May date doesn't work, we'll probably have to kind of regroup and figure out how we can help you.
I very much appreciate it.
Okay.
Thanks for bringing that up. And just come up and see Kevin after the meeting came in. Thank you.
I have a resident who's concerned about the uptick in racial crime and killing in the recent years, and he's wondering if we're concerned, what can we do to decrease these activities?
I'm going to have to ask for that person to expand on that. Could somebody expand on that, please? Chief, I'm going to pass to you. I don't really know how to answer that. I mean, I know this.
I can try to explain the question to you. I don't know if I can answer it. But basically what they're trying to say, it's been a lot of,
The mic's not turned on.
I guess what they're trying to explain or say in regards to, what they're trying to say or explain themselves in regards to a lot of black-on-black crime has been happening recently, particularly in my area. Luckily, the police were able to apprehend those suspects or people who committed those horrible crimes. But not only at 7-Eleven, but there was also a homicide on Dracker Street recently where a young man was killed. Very close to the entire family, a very huge family in the community. I guess they're trying to see what outreach groups are being put in place in the city in terms of addressing the needs of our addressing.
Was that your question?
I guess, no, that wasn't my question.
All right.
I didn't write it
I don't
down,
really, I'll be honest with you.
but just the way it was written, I can understand.
I don't really,
the rationale.
you know, I'm going to sound naive here, but when there's crime, I don't say what color was the person, what nationality was the person. I don't. Crime is crime. And it's horrible and it's devastating and it's going to wipe out our family. It doesn't matter if it's a Caucasian family, Hispanic family, or an African American family. We have too much crime. Any amount of crime. And I think Chief Doty and the Hamilton Police Department are doing a fine job. I do. That's why he's the chief. And that's why we have the great police officers we do. And I know that the crime stats are heading in the right direction. They are. Crime has gone down. However, tell that to a victim of crime. You know, if you say, Mayor, my house was broken into in 2016, or I had somebody in my family that was mugged or beat up, you know, and I say, but crime stats are going down. They say, I don't care what you think. I don't care if you think crime's going down. It affected my family. And it doesn't matter to me if you're telling me the crime's going down, Mayor. It affected my family. I mean, so when I tell you that crime stats are going in the right direction, they are. Am I saying victory, I'm done now, crime stats are going in the right direction? No. Because if we, like I said, crime's going this way, and that's our level of crime, that's too much. Our goal should be 0. And maybe it's unrealistic, but that's our goal. So I'm glad that the chiefs and the police department are working so hard, and that the crime stats are heading in the right direction, but it's still too much. Okay? We still have too many shootings. We still have too many break-ins. We still have too many, you know, domestic situations. It's unacceptable. And I'll never be satisfied. And I don't ever talk about stats. I don't, because you can't control them. I could come out here and say, look at this, stats are down. And then the next year when the stats are up, you're going to say, well, Mayor, it's your fault then if the stats are up, right? When the stats are down, I think it's just good police work. And sometimes they go up, and they're still doing the same job they've always done. It's not like they took the week off and crime spiked. They're still doing the job. In my opinion, we have 211 Hammond police officers. and they work hard. And we have a lot of them assigned to the gang unit, narcotics unit. We have a lot of them assigned to the uniform division, and they work very, very hard. And we make sure that they do. And we're just gonna keep on plugging away, and we're gonna keep on doing it, and we're gonna have to keep coming up with this money to pay for these 211 Halo police officers, and it's expensive, but it's worth it. It's a war. We're at war. And we have victories and we have losses, but we're at war with the bad guys. And to me, if it's Caucasian, if it's African American, if it's Hispanic or Asian or whatever,
Still a war.
it's still too much crime. So I don't really think, and I sound naive when I say it, I don't really think like that. You know, if the chief calls me up and says, Mayor, we had a shooting today, I don't say, well, what color was the guy? I just don't. It's unacceptable. If there's a shooting, I don't care what color it was. I don't care what nationality it was. I don't care what sex it was. It's too much. So anyway, chief?
Well, I do look at the stats. They are headed in the right direction. And I can tell you a couple things in a minute. But if you've been listening at all to what's going on here tonight, we're talking about businesses opening in Hampton. Every single business opens up a job opportunity. Jobs that make money and bring them into your home stabilize your family. When you stabilize a family, the kids grow up in a better environment and they are going to have a lower propensity to commit crimes. When there's a father present in a home, the kids are 70% less likely to commit a crime. So it isn't just a police matter. We have a good police department here, we do. We have a mayor and planning and development, and everybody here at this table is trying to bring business structure to this city, infrastructure here that will outlive all of us. 2 super Walmarts, on and on. We just did list after list of business opening up here. Every one of those creates job opportunities to stabilize a family in the city of Hammond and to make us grow and be a better place. We have to stabilize our families. That's a cultural shift sometimes for us. We have to get out and work hard, bring money home, and teach our kids right from wrong. I can't come to your house and do that. I can reach out to your community, and I can be in your neighborhood, and I can be nice to you. But if you do something bad, I gotta be the police and I'm gonna put you in jail. And the story, at the end of the day, that's what I'm here for. But I can be sensitive to your needs, to what you want, and I can try to coach you, I can try to keep you away from crime, I can meet with your children, and I can help you parent as much as we can, and we're doing that every day, and we're getting better at that every day, and better communicating with the public. So we're trying to do that as well. We're trying to be coaches too, not just the police, we're trying. We're doing the best we can. But at the end of the day, somebody shoots somebody. My guys are the ones jumping fences chasing that guy with a gun. And I just heard it on the radio yesterday, right through Wallace School. A guy was beating up a girl. My guy got out and chased him alone. That guy had a gun. We caught him right as school was getting out. Bad scenario over there, but we took care of it. We took care of business because that's what we do. But everything you've heard about today, that's improving the quality of life in Hammond. Every homeowner here has to take advantage of that, seize that job opportunity, stabilize their family, and that's when crime really goes down.
I heard somebody speak a couple weeks ago, and they were like, this is a person that thinks big, and they're like regional, and they're talking about just trends and how like Hammond is fighting a heroic fight, but eventually we're not going to be successful and we're going to lose that fight. And I tell you, I don't believe that. I really don't. I think that Hammond could be like we see in a lot of places in Chicago that, I remember neighborhoods in Chicago 20 years ago, you couldn't drive through, and you go there now and there's a Starbucks on the corner. I think that could be Hammond. And I think that we're doing a great job. And we just got to keep working hard. And we got to let the bad guys know this is unacceptable. We're not going to tolerate it. I want bad guys to know when they go to Hammond that they're going to get caught. If you're going to break the law here, we're going to get your license plate on your way out. We're going to have a police officer that happens to drive by. And we're going to catch you, and we're going to put you in jail, and you're not going to see the light of day for 10, 15, 20 years. And we're not messing around. I want the bad guys to know that about Hammond. That don't break the law in Hammond, because we have the police department that will catch you. And that's how we're going to win. And we're going to let them know it's not acceptable, that we have a lot of great, God-fearing, good homeowners that love our city, and we're not going to tolerate that stuff. It doesn't matter what color you are or what sex you are, it's just an intolerable situation. So, Commissioner?
Right at Merrill, right at Merrill and Tapper, it's like 30, 40 guys that stand out there, and none of them live there. Like one older lady, 2 older ladies' houses have been shot. and it's just a constant, one of the ministers came out there, Councilman Higgs was out there that night. We confronted them, none of them live on my block, none of them even live in Hammond. They just pick a spot and start throwing beer cans and partying. You know, it just get to the point where it's ridiculous when you start shooting up in little old lady houses. It shouldn't be anybody's house. But it's getting to the point, you know, I have a 12-year-old son. He's not gonna stop riding his skateboard.
Right.
When they come on our street, we confront them. And that's the way it should be. If
But Alvin,
people
at the
stay-
same time though, like when that kind of stuff's happening, you gotta communicate with us so we get our guys out there.
Mayor,
It's so many people standing out there.
But like
I mean, it's not like one or two people, it's like 30.
But that's when the police department needs to be called, Commissioner.
Mayor,
Yes,
if
sir.
I can respond to that. As you know, Alvin, I spoke with the chief in regards to that. I think Ms. Harris' house, and I'm not totally sure, but I think a bullet went through Ms. Harris' house.
That's
She
correct.
has a son that has mentally challenged, actually, and she's been in the community for a number of years. It's really sad that she has to deal with that, but the chief is aware of that, and also Tim lives in that block, so I think some issues were going on with his mother-in-law's house as well, so the chief is aware of it.
Is he aware when it actually happens? When the people are back, the bad guys
Certainly,
up?
he gets a call immediately. I have conversation with the chief on a regular basis.
Okay.
So what's being done about it?
You would have to ask the chief.
Thank you. I seem to be getting a few punches from the councilman tonight.
No,
So
not no
some of them
punches,
a little
just
under the table, I think.
simply explaining my
We
position.
respond, as I stated before, to every call aggressively. We investigate every incident as thoroughly as we can, and we do what we can. We need the cooperation of the neighborhood at the time. We need witness accounts to do our job. Our officers are accountable for what they do. They're busier now than they've ever been because of things we've put into place like contact protocol. Our officers are more visible on the streets of Hammond than they've ever been in my career. You can't drive through Hammond, I can, without seeing 4 or 5 traffic stops going on at any given time, making contact with offenders and potential criminals passing through our city. A large amount of them are just passing through. You said so yourself, Illinois people coming in, camping out. We need that call. You know our guys will come. Anybody who says that the Hammond police do not respond when they're called, they're just not telling the truth. Because we respond, we come, and we come in force and we take care of business. So I'm sorry if I'm being a little firm, but we do.
I agree
We
with
take
you,
care of
Chief.
business, we're on it.
I would
We're all over.
I would be furious with the police chief and the Hammond Police Department if there was a situation they were aware of and they didn't respond. I mean, and Commissioner Cheeks, I totally get it. If I saw some people hanging out in front of my house that shouldn't be there, I would confront it myself too. I'm not that type of person, right? And you go out there like, hey, what's going on here, right? And when it gets to a certain situation, you gotta call the authorities, Alvin, and we'll take care of business. That's what they do.
The thing is, Mayor, is that if the citizens don't react to their community, then people who don't live there, it's
Listen, I get
open
it.
season.
I totally agree with you, okay?
And-
But there's a certain point where you can't, what are you gonna do?
I mean, I believe in this, Mayor. This is my belief. If you throwing beer cans in front of somebody's house you don't live in,
It's disrespectful.
you just pick a
Yeah.
spot because it's two
Right.
older ladies that live there.
Alvin, it's totally unacceptable, we're not
Right,
saying.
no, it is, and that night, me and Councilman Hizzle, they thought it was crazy, but
But where was the police department that night?
it's like a regular. Now,
Well, this is my feeling, I have a feeling that you and Councilman
Why didn't
Higgs
somebody call?
wanted to take care of it yourselves, and that's great.
Wait a minute, well, let me expound on that. That's not true. I'm not a police
So did you call the
officer.
cops that
I
night?
have license to carry.
That's fine, did
But
you call the cops that night?
Of course. I
did.
have explained to the chief on a regular basis. He is working on it. I trust that he will deal with the issue.
But that night, when there's 30
That's
people,
the responsibility of the Hammond Police Department. As a councilman, I will address the concerns of the community as I always have, and that's what I do.
Okay.
Me and the chief have conversation, and Alvin's aware of that as well as the chief. Not just there, but a number of areas within the community. Also in Jackson, there are problems. There's abandoned property there with a van sitting there, and the neighbors are complaining and calling on a regular basis. I spoke to the chief earlier. He said it will be addressed. The building will be boarded up tomorrow, and hopefully the vehicle will be removed.
thanks, Councilman Higgs. Tim's got a question.
Yeah, Mayor, I called the police that night.
it was my mother-in-law house, you know, and, I'm sorry. And, when I got there, when the police got there, they were gone. And I told them who they were looking for, you know, and they know. I had talked to Andy,
Mhm.
they know.
Okay, I'm sorry about that, Jim.
That's right.
Yeah. It's unacceptable.
I know.
Yeah. So, yes, ma'am.
Long time ago, Brian Miller told me we were having troubles, and our neighborhood's very quiet. And he said, anytime you see 6 or 8 people just loitering, call a squad.
Right.
Immediately, don't even go out there and confront them, just call. Put in a call.
Right,
Nobody's
doesn't
gonna
hurt.
know it was you or who it was, but
Chief, you ever got
get them
mad
off
because you
the
got a
street.
call? If somebody called and there was like people loitering in front of their house, has anybody in the police department ever gotten angry and said, what are you calling us for?
I've never had an angry.
That's I mean, we would, in
They're
a
all-
situation like that, if I ever found out, and it wouldn't happen, I just know that, I know these people. That's why I live there.
Right.
Chief Jody probably could have been fireman, he could have been anything he wanted, he chose to be a police officer. He chose to be a police officer
So
and
when
a
there were
police chief.
8 people out there, they should have called. They shouldn't have waited
Right.
until there were 30.
I agree. Okay, all right,
I do it all the time.
any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we had an incident on my street, and we called the 911. And it took about 15 to 20 minutes before the police got there. And now we understand that you call 911, it goes to Crown Point, and then it comes back.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
if it's an emergency,
Yeah.
you know,
I agree.
it's, by the time the police, before they got there, it was about 50 young men out there.
How
many?
And about 50 young men
Yeah.
out there to fight this lady's kids down the street. Well, as soon as the police cars come up, they scatter, and they get away, so nothing's done about
And
it.
then, you know, you're bringing up an important topic, ma'am, I appreciate you. The state ordered Lake County in probably 2008, maybe 2010, to consolidate 911 in Lake County into one location. And it was an order of the state, and we had to do it. It was done under Governor Mitch Daniels and continued under Governor Pence. And it's sort of like dealing with the EPA. They're not asking. This is a state law. You know, we were doing fine in Hammond. We had a Hammond dispatch, East Chicago had a dispatch, Gary had a dispatch, and the Republicans downstate that are running our state, they look at 19 PSAPs, they call it Public Safety Answering Points, 911 centers. We have 19 of them in Lake County. They said, if we take 19 and we condense it into one, we can save a whole bunch of money. But they don't think about what you're bringing up, ma'am, is the response time. We have people in a 911 center that has no idea where your house is. If you tell them I live on May Street, they're like, what city is that? They're like, it's in Hammond, are you kidding me? You know? But like, we're dealing with the growing pains right now. And I want you to know that I've been working with Commissioner Ripe, Lake County Commissioner, I've been working with County Councilman Dave Ham on this issue. It's a real issue that you're bringing up, and I apologize. I want you to know that they took our dispatch and they didn't ask, okay? But 15 minutes seems like a long time, Chief. Are you still having problems like that?
We're still, some of that will never change in the non-emergency calls because they're not going to use the same system that Hammond had. We've discussed that with them. They're going to do the call taker and then they shuttle the call. Electronically, the call gets shuttled over to the dispatcher that comes up on their screen. When it's shuttled over, our squads see it before it's even dispatched. That's how we got to the 7-Eleven and it's so fast. Our guys picked it up before, and they were there before it was even dispatched. But a stationary officer parked at a hospital nearby, he saw that come up on his screen. He just sat still for a minute, he immediately responded, told the other units, hey, let's go. They rallied up and they went over there. And we ended up, as you know, we solved that incident. But it'll never be as fast as it was when Hammond had ownership. But it is what it is. It was taken out of our hands legally. It is what it is. It's getting better. We've offered to them to make suggestions. We said, get that call taker right next to the person that's dispatching, which is what we did. They're across the room. They're buying headsets so they can talk, I guess now, wirelessly. I don't know if that's going to help or not, but things do seem to be slowly improving as they work out the bugs out there. We've got a ways to go.
Mayor, if I can just ask a question of the chief. I know at 7-Eleven, when the young man, gentleman got killed at 7-Eleven, one of the questions that was posed, a question that was thrown out.
Could you just talk to the chief after?
Well, I just need some clarity while he's here, so everybody's clear on it. What happened was, you talked about the 911. The reason for the question is that for some reason or another, I guess they had a silent alarm, and the silent alarm didn't go directly to the Hammond Police Department. It went to a Crown Point, to a Crown Point to 911 dispatch center. And so in regards to that, I guess that was why they said the response or something was not as quickly as possible. Is this something that businesses in the future are gonna work on to try to rectify that, or what?
All alarm systems go to a private provider, and then they call it into the dispatch center. Even in Hammond, when we had our system, some alarms came directly, and you paid for that service extra through somebody we contracted with. But when our 911 center was dismantled, that went away, so that was no longer possible. Lake County cannot do that for a whole county, so they're all private now. So it automatically goes to the company, like Pyramid or whoever you choose, and then they contact the 911 dispatcher.
Okay,
One more quick question about the South Shore train extension.
sure.
Do we know where
A quick question
quick,
about
quick, quick.
multi-million
Any
dollar
stations, do you know where any stations may be located in Hammond?
I can tell you, I'm fairly confident there'll be a station, if the South Shore approval happens. If, there will be a station, and I know Bill Emerson's sitting there looking at me right now. I'm almost positive that one of their stations is gonna be the Purdue Cal station, they call it. It'll be on about 171st and Lyman. Okay? It seems to me that that station has the most, a lot of people want that station. Purdue Cal being one of them, one region. A lot of the people that are pushing this project talk about that one in particular. We're more concerned with what happens to the current South Shore station in Hammond and the gateway proposal that we've brought up. Now, the Hammond City Council and the mayor basically told Congressman Viscoski and the South Shore that until they come up with more answers on what we're getting for our $27 million, that we weren't gonna commit any money. So at this point, Hammond is not on board the train,
Good.
okay? Now, they're gonna put a lot of pressure on us, and I'm sure the council's gonna have to revisit this issue, as am I, and we're gonna know a lot more answers, so that if we decide to go along with this project, we can tell you, the residents that pay for the bills, what we're gonna get if this project happens. Okay? I can tell you that they're eyeballing 2 stations in Hammond. We have currently 1 station. That station will be shut down. What I think will probably happen is they'll shut the current South Shore station in Hammond down, and they'll consolidate into the gateway, which is right on the state line, which will house both lines, north-south and east-west. And there'll be a new station built there, and there'll be another one built on Lyman and 171st. If I were a betting person, I would say that that's probably what's gonna happen. But we're not gonna know for sure until the environmental impact statement is done. It has to go through the federal government. That process hasn't even started yet. We're talking, if this all happens, it's probably not gonna happen until 2022, 2023 in that area. So, no, you're not gonna be gone, Nate. You'll still be voting in Lake County, one way or another. So, anyway, last question.
That's it.
Good mayor's night.
You didn't answer her
What's that?
I gave her a question, you didn't get to it yet.
Oh,
What's the South Shore train station?
Oh, you didn't hit my question at all.
Oak?
okay. Which question?
One of my questions indirectly had to do with the South Shore. About the Ravinia thing.
Oh, he just wanted to know if there was gonna be a station near Harrison Park, because he thought a
No, wait a minute,
Ravinia South might be
That was my
nice.
complete question.
What?
Related to Highland Park. You know the Ravinia Festival up in Highland Park, Illinois?
Mhm.
Why not make the South Shore station close to Harrison Park, just south of downtown Hammond?
Mhm.
Have the equivalent of Ravinia
Good
Festival out
question.
here.
Good
You
question.
can pull in thousands into downtown Hammond every night for the whole summer.
You have to keep in mind, though, that we're not really driving the train on this one, okay? This is being driven by the congressman, and if they locate the gateway on Gosselin and Sheffield, which is basically the area where it would be located, the second stop would be too close. Harrison Park would be too close. Well, they could do that.
Pace buses up there in Highland Park.
Okay, and I've seen you at those South Shore meetings, so maybe you should bring that up with them, okay? All right, everybody, I want to thank you all for coming out to Mayor's Night Out. Thank you to the elected officials, thank you to the residents, thank you to the department heads. Everybody up here lives in Hammond, just like you do, and not anybody up here makes an extra penny for doing Mayor's Night.